feels more comfortable in here because, man, how many of you guys felt today? It's Wednesday, so Monday was a freezing wind chill, man. It was blowing me while I was walking down this street going over to La Tierra. Oh my goodness. Like the East Coast. It was amazing. But I'm just asking each and one of you to think about the greatest challenge that you have in life. Do you feel like you've overcome that greatest challenge you've had? Think about the hardest difficulty that you have. Because I want all of us to think on those words, is that regardless of how it looks, your victory is here. So think about your life and the biggest challenge that you ever had. Or just think about last month. What was the thing that you went through last month that you see that you overcame? Or last week? Ponder on, you see all that right there? So I want each one of you to think about how you overcame and how stronger you are right now. Look at that. And go ahead and give yourself a round of applause. I really literally want you to look on the inside of yourself and see how much you gain from this. Because all of us have trials all the time. We all go through a struggle, and it's the whole point that we have to gain from it. And my favorite analogy is the butterfly. We all know how the butterfly didn't come into this world as a butterfly. It was that caterpillar that had to break out the cocoon, get all of its strength and muscles, and now it's that beautiful butterfly that we all shine about. We all think about all the time. Pausing it naturally, ready to show it another shot. But you recognize that one. I want each of you to think on that portion. Well, you guess to see that angle will be right there. But you see how the butterfly just literally came out and is much stronger. And I just want each of you to think of yourself that same way. Whatever struggle that you went through, recognize how much stronger you are right now because of that. And many people are always in that mode of hiding on the inside of themselves. You guys don't want to share with us what happened, what you went through, as you will realize how much that's motivating and that will encourage so many other people when you actually let us all know how you stepped up, how you came out of this, and now you're stronger, and they don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can see something that they don't have to fall on, or some things that they can help on. So don't hide any of the struggle that you went through. Recognize how that is so appealing, that's really helping a lot of us out, because I love that one, how stories, connect with people so much. They say stories sells. Stories uplifts us all as we recognize that true story. Because one thing that is encouraging to me is how that scripture right there, or one story I should just start with, was Steve Harvey. How we all recognize that name, Steve Harvey, now. But 4 years ago, he was homeless in his car for 4 years. But he stepped out, he went through all those big struggles, and came out, and now we all see him as the host of those 2 shows where he does Family Feud and his other talk show. He has a radio show, he wrote his book, so he learned from everything that he went through. And he's happily sharing it with everybody. And you see all the results he's gained from that. To recognize the same thing with you, you can seriously encourage people tremendously when you look at everything that you've gone through. And you can uplift us all about sharing with us what happened. So we all see each other on a one-on-one, because I really want us to think about all the parents in here. See how fast you tell those little kids something, the 7-year-old, the 10-year-old, you'll quickly tell them something that they can, you can just learn, don't worry about this, sweetie. You can go ahead and cross the street this way, or you can go and just ignore all those kids at school who are trying to tell you something. We give kids tips so quickly, but why can't we just share it with each other? Really look at that. And that's one thing that I am shining about. I'm motivated on just sharing with each and every one of you about epilepsy. Because that's been the challenge that I've had to go through for way over half my life. 18 years. Still, the Lord is healing me right now from this. But I'm not letting this hold me down. It's just really motivating me to share with and inform the community. Because epilepsy simply means that you're having a seizure on a regular basis. And many of you guys think that a seizure, the first seizure that you're thinking about, is when somebody falls down and shakes and is hitting their head or moving and so forth. And those are called grand mal seizures, or they really want you to start claiming it as generalized tonic-clonic. But I put the form right there on each of your seats right there, because as I'm a spokeswoman with the Epilepsy Foundation, we want you all to recognize that there are 20 different types of seizures. 20. And there's several ways that you can take care of the person. So don't get scared off if you see something. Just recognize that there's different ways that people are coming, and don't get scared off that somebody's acting a little weird. Because the seizure that I had to overcome is called complex partial seizure. And that's where I will literally walk around town. I can walk if I'm outside, if I'm getting out of bed, I'm doing some twists and turns, and my eyes are still wide open. I'm just unconscious. It's like that sleepwalking heard before. I'm literally walking around with open eyes, but can I answer any of your questions as I have no clue of what's going on? And that scares more people off, literally. And it's just like really informed. So I wrote my book, and I'm calling around to the community and letting everybody know about this. Because that's one struggle I had. After I graduated from college, a lot of the corporations, you're strong, but I don't think that the clients will be able to work with you, and these employees, it won't go well. And I'm like, come on, I'm a travel woman, so I quickly said, let me go ahead and go for the Peace Corps. And they accepted me and said, okay, get ready, you're going to send you off in 25 days. I'm getting myself together. But had me talk to their doctor. And as soon as the doctor heard about this challenge, he said, oh, those other countries aren't just as strong. I'm sorry, we won't be able to send you there. No, you're going to have to stay. I'm like, I'll take my medicine. I'll come back. It's nothing like it's going to hold me down. Not inspiring enough to them. So that's why I said, okay, let me come on back to the West Coast, because I was out there in D.C. at Howard University, and I love the East Coast, because I happily tell all of you that the way I get around town is using my BMW, and that's called bike, metro, and walking. I love that one. It keeps me a size 6. It keeps me moving my body. All of you guys jumping in the cars all the time. But I'm happy I see how walking is actually using your body very easily. Because I grew up in the athletic family, had no respect for walking in the past. I'm making sure I'm running push-ups, squats. And how many of you guys have been to that sand room out there in Manhattan? It's a half a mile of sand, and you have to run up and down now and there. So I was always going against all the females and making sure I beat people up there in my family. And that's another one there, my thing. I actually had to also go through Graves' disease, where I had the bigger body. I was a size 9, and that's big in my family. All my sisters were size 4s. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I'm pushing, I'm doing all my sit-ups. And it wasn't until I went to Spain, after I graduated college, I came back here and could not believe all the Spanish that I forgot when I didn't use it that much in D.C. I came back here, I had to run to West LA Community College and did my study abroad in Spain. And in Spain, I didn't work out one time. I was over there just walking around and just eating all their dark chocolate, loving all these sweets. But I did stay away from the cheese, because I do vegetables and a piece of meat, that's all I do. I stay away from carbohydrates. But I was over there relaxed, and then I come back to size 6. And so the Lord just told me, free your mind. The rest will follow. It literally works. I was so amazed and I couldn't believe it. When I didn't work out one time and I'm just all relaxed, I come back to 6. So I happily walk around now all the time knowing that I'm just using my body. And as long as you're using your body on a regular basis, you'll see how well that is. So what about you? So I'm happily sharing this tip. Make sure that you use your body. Because when I went to China, all those people, you see that parking lot? They are all of bikes. It's not cars. I was in shock. All the 70-year-olds and 80-year-olds, they are also riding their bikes all around.
In the swamp.
In California, this country proudly told us, oh yes, we're the most laziest country, yes. This is such a wonderful one, we're so rich and lazy. That is not healthy for you. And I'm not going to be lazy. I'm gonna operate like those Chinese and all the Europeans. They're also on bikes and walking. And if they can ride their bikes in their 80s, over here we're all in shock when we see an 80-year-old riding a bike and still dancing. We'll all give them a round of applause. Let's make that a natural part of your life. That's why I'm sharing with you. Just keep your body operating and share. Just don't get scared off. So what was the challenge that you had? Is there any tips that you can be motivating us about? Think about that for real. Ponder on that. I want you to share this with us because it really uplifts all of us. And as much as we're all a club, we're all over here all the time. Remember that James 1:2-6? Consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of any kind because it develops your perseverance. And perseverance must complete its complete work in you so that you'll be mature and complete, not lacking anything. And just feel great about it. Don't worry. Because that was one thing that I did. I'm the type of person, I'm making sure that I do everything right. You can't tell me I did anything wrong. But in March, I had a big seizure in March, right there on the metro on La Cienega and Jefferson, waiting to go to Staples Center. It was about 5 more minutes for a train. But the next thing I know, I'm in Huntington Hospital, bleeding. I had a broke jaw and I broke my tooth. And I'm like, what happened? I'm all in shock, like, Lord, what was I supposed to gain from this? Where did you want me to shine on? I am so excited right now, and he told me these past 3 weeks that Afi is perseverance. You didn't let yourself stop. I'm still happily moving around. I told you my BMW. And it's showing you. And I just happily share to all of you guys how I'm safe everywhere I go. Because I want you to see how much love we have right here in this room. There is so much love in this community. Everybody is all willing to help you out when you just have that loving spirit. Just expect it all the time. Because all these years, I told you 18 years that I've gone through these seizures, I have never lost my purse one time. I was out there having a seizure one time on the street and ran out of the bus. I come back to myself and a stranger is talking to me saying, Afi, I'm looking, how does he know my name? He told me I ran off the bus and I dropped all my purses in the street. He had to go pick them up and he was trying to talk to me. I wouldn't respond. And he actually picked my phone up and called the word dad on it. And my dad explained to him, oh, please sit her down. I'm going to come and drive and pick her up. And this is over there in Torrance by the South Bay Galleria. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, man, all the love is clearly out there. So I'm motivating all of you to pass the love. Because you see how we all happily talk about this country being so strong. We just did all that brand. We all talking about the flag. But if we're a strong country, why do we all respect how France can kiss each other on the cheek and we don't seem to pass the love? I want all of you to really think about making sure you go out there and do a high five to 5 strangers every day. You don't have to know that person. But a lot of you guys are in here are parents. And you see how quick everybody will go up to that 7-year-old, 6-year-old, and give them a thumbs up, a high five, and a hug. Why can't we do it to each other? It literally uplifts amazingly. Everybody is happily surprised. Because I do it to 40 strangers a day. Wherever I walk around and people are like, oh, thank you. Oh, for real? And when you can get, that's an icebreaker. When you can motivate the people when we all get in the room when we don't know each other, just get those people to actually go to a stranger over there and high five one another. And when you actually get the 2, it won't be easy to get the first 3 or 4 people, but you will get 1 or 2 people to start. And when everybody starts doing it, it just uplifts the vibe and all of us feel the love right here. And that's why I'm motivating just for all of us to pass the love. Just realize that we are safe right here. I'm expecting it. I'm safe everywhere I go. I've always been. And I want all of you to recognize these steps I told you right here. This is the different seizures. I'm about to show you one that I had, as you'll see how my eyes are wide open. And I want you to recognize that there's 5 steps to handling the seizure that you'll see. Because the seizures are different types But recognize that number one is look at your watch. Because any seizures that are 5 minutes or less, that's not an emergency. And so we don't appreciate you guys sending us to the hospital when we're not even going to stay there for the day. That's a big fee right there, $750 to take them to the hospital for nothing. So look at your watch. If it's 5 minutes or less, it's not an emergency. And number two is to make sure that they're safe, that there's different types of seizures. If they're the grandmas, so the chronic ones, generalized chronic ones, put them on their side and just give them the space right there. But don't put anything in anybody's mouth, because they've told you that. Somebody used to say that in the past. But if they put something in their mouth, they can actually break their jaw or hurt their gums further. So don't put anything in anybody's mouth. And number two, if it's somebody like the complex partial ones, well, they'll run around, just make sure it's a safe if they won't run into the street. But a petite mal ones, they'll just stand there, unconscious, their eyes there, and they'll just be standing there. So you just make sure that area is safe. But number three, ask the person a question. Because most people who are having seizures are unconscious. They have no idea what's going on. So just ask them a question, not a yes or no question, but something that they have to give you a detail on. Alfie, how do you spell your middle name? Or Alfie, what did you have for dinner last night? Give us something that we have to describe. So when they can actually answer your question and have a conversation with you, they're back to their consciousness. So now they're aware. You can go there. And your next step is to kind of explain to them what just happened. Kind of spend a few more times. Because even though that they've come back from their seizure, it takes about 5 to 10 more minutes for them to completely gain more strength. So just get that one and just spend a few more minutes with them on that. And that's all. It's not here. We just got to get more people aware in this community. Because I cannot believe how many people get scared off. Because that was another one. I went to the elementary school, the Tom Bradley Elementary School. It was my first day as a president. She was aware, as the president, the principal was aware of what happened. But she actually had to go to a meeting my first day at work, so she left right then. But I'm working with the kids, and we're taking the students over to lunch, and we're just taking them. But the next thing I know, I'm in the lobby area, and all these teachers are giving me this up and down vibe, negative vibe. I'm wondering what happened. And they told me that they just called the cops on me. The ambulance is coming. They told me I tried to run to the gate, and I tried to jump over a gate in there, and that I actually pushed a little boy. And so they had to call the cops on me. And I'm just like, what? I'm showing everybody this is a medical ID bracelet. If you see somebody acting weird, look for something like this. I can pass it around the room, but it shows you my name, and you can open it up, and it also shows you the emergency contact inside. So that's the number that you can call. So look for something like that if somebody has that on there. Don't get afraid, because we're more afraid because we have no clue what just happened. I want you guys to see. But here is one seizure that I was at, because that's one thing I had almost given up on. Doctors in this country always want you to be on their drugs, on medicine. And medicine has never worked for me. But I actually went to UCLA 3 weeks ago, and I feel a loving vibe over there. They're still trying to figure out. So they triggered seizures with me for a week. I was at the hospital for a week, and here's one of the seizures that happened to me. Oh, there. And you see how I'm awake. Right here on the bus, on the bed, I'm wide awake.
Are you just now waking up?
I was already awake, sitting there, just like, it looked like I was on my phone. I was not on the phone. They had me trapped to the bed because my mom told me that I would run off and I could push them. me my name and I'm still not answering.
Hey, at which point did you regain consciousness?
Still waiting. She's still trying to ask me my name and I'm still not responding.
Okay.
It's too long because of my. I tried to go back to sleep.
You're still unconscious then.
Right. So it's getting late. But yeah, I don't want to hold it. It looked like another minute or so before. You see how they left me alone there? And on that one, it looked like I went back to sleep, so I guess since I was on the bed. But I went back to sleep, so. And there was no wide one where I just went ahead and went to sleep on that one. So that was the videotape there, so. You never know what's going to happen, so just ask that person the question until they can actually talk to you. That's why I told you if it's 5 minutes and they can get back to you, that's when they're back to their consciousness, and so it's not an emergency. Within 5 minutes is fine.
So in that case, you never answered a question, you never indicated through evidence that you were conscious, but the nurses let you go. So are there circumstances where someone is having, some of these episodes where they don't respond and we don't have to necessarily call an ambulance? Like in this case, you didn't respond, you just fell back asleep.
Mm-hmm. Right, it's, if it's a safe vibe and everything, if you know the person or if you don't, if it's a safe one and they go back to sleep, that's why if you feel comfortable letting them there, see how much more time it takes. As long as they're not running off in the street, just focus on asking the question, how I cover it up and wouldn't even let them answer. Is that clear what you're saying?
So it's not a time thing, because I was under the impression that if it was more than 5 minutes, then maybe, I don't know, some neurological stuff was going on, which is why we need to go to the ER. Or is it more because if it's more than 5 minutes, then in that time span, something bad could potentially happen if it increases?
Well, right, since it's 20 types, I guess more than 5 minutes, especially on the big ones, because this is the complex partial, they call that one. But the ones that are the grandmas or the generalized tonic-clonic ones, that they're shaking and still hitting their head over 5 minutes.
Those are the ones.
Those are the main ones and things like that, because the other one is petite mal ones. And that's why I wrote my book, how Socrates and Julia and Seizures and all that, they had them. Flojo and Harriet Tubman had the petite mals where they would just stand there and unconscious for a few minutes and weren't able to speak. It was only about 1 minute for them. But they just have eyes are wide open, but they're just standing there. So that's why it's different. So as long as it's a safe, they're not moving and hurting themselves. Yeah, I'm clear. But that's why I'm sharing this one with everybody, so that you guys aren't aware and it's not trying to scare everybody off anymore. But realize that if you see somebody acting weird, you can see that medical ID bracelet that I carry around myself. And so again, what is the challenge that you overcame? Is there something that you can be sharing with us that we can learn from this? We all want to be one body and encouraging each other and just passing the love. I'm motivating all of us to pass it and literally think about it, what you gain from this. Because that's why I wrote my book. The Lord didn't let all that one. But if you want to see how I've overcome, I told you how I broke that one and going to the Peace Corps. That's why I've written books. Now I'm a speaker. And I found this other team that I'm able to do with travels. And now I can do all the travel and I'm making my money in the other way. It's just going in and going for that one. So you guys can get the book. I told you, Harriet Tubman and so forth, all those had the challenge and didn't give up on them. And it's going on. And just realize how you can share the same thing with us. Just feel an uplifting vibe and don't hold things back, because we all can be encouraged with your love and what you went through. And we'll smile and we're like, okay, that's victory right there. I want all of you to seriously feel the victory inside and just pass that loving spirit to all of us. So it's time to let you all go.
Thank you very much. I know I learned a few things about epilepsy today, so thank you very much. Offie, we'd like, what we're doing to honor our speakers is have them sign a book, and we're giving these books to the Culver City Library, and in honor of you having spoken here today. And so pick one and then give the other one to Marcia. Marcia, I'd like you to sign one too, if you would. And let's finish up with a little bit of humor here. This is a very quick one. An irate woman loudly demanded to the newspaper customer service rep, "Where's my Sunday paper?" The rep answered, "Ma'am, today is Saturday. Your Sunday paper will be delivered tomorrow." There was a long pause at the end of the phone, followed by a muttered, "Well, crap. No wonder there was nobody at church this morning." Ladies and gentlemen, you are always welcome.
Wait.